Wednesday, September the 18th. Before I get into the fishing report, I want to tell you about little deals going on this weekend. Battery Outfitters has got their grand opening at their new store in Springfield, which is a mile south of James River on Campbell. We're going to be out there from 11 o'clock to 3 o'clock. They're going to have the Bigfoot Odyssey monster truck out there. They're going to be crushing over some cars. It's going to be hot dogs and ice cream, homemade cookies, so you need to bring the family out. They're going to be giving away several $500 gift certificates, a couple guided fishing trips from myself, and five-time Bassmaster winner Mike McClellan is going to be there from 11 to 3 along with myself. So if you want to come out and talk some fishing, if anybody has any questions on Lowrance Electronics, I'm going to have my boat out there and I can walk you through some stuff. But it's going to be a fun deal for the family, so get a chance to load the kids up and come on out. But as far as the fishing report, the lake level has dropped about 2 inches, just a little under 917. Like I say, it's been the same now for about the last 3 or 4 weeks. Water temperatures dropped down a little bit. It was 80 degrees this morning. And the smallmouth are really starting to bite pretty good. I mean, they're showing up real good. I've had 3 or 4 real good days from Kimberling City down in the dam up to about Highway 86 at Long Creek. And most of them smallmouth have been about 15 to 20 foot deep, mainly on main lake secondary points. Seems like you got to have a creek channel or some depth pretty close to the points that seem to work best are the ones that run way out, got a little bit of deep water on each side, and they got mixed gravel and chunk rock. Now brush or trees doesn't seem to be a factor. Most of the fish seem to be relating to the rock. Most of those fish I'm catching on a football jig, a ½ ounce and a 5/8, and if I'm throwing spinning gear, I'm throwing a 3/8. Now as far as the color, I've been throwing a green pumpkin with a little purple in it with a Zoom Speed Craw. Another one I've been throwing, it's called a Triple X from Pig Sticker. It's kind of like a watermelon candy. And I've been throwing a couple different trailers. The other day the bite slowed down. We had been just kind of dragging the jig. Seemed like we noticed a couple times when we was reeling in, getting ready to make another cast, we'd have a fish either follow it or we'd get a bite as we was reeling it in. So what we started doing, and I noticed we was getting several bites before the jig got to bottom. The fish had kind of moved up off the bottom a little bit. So when you cast out, you want to keep a close eye on your line. They may hit it before it gets to the bottom, but what we were doing when we stopped getting bit is once the jig got to the bottom, we'd just pop it real hard, just like we was fishing a jigging spoon. Reel the slack up, let it go back down, and as soon as you could, by watching your line, as soon as you could tell when the jig hit the bottom, we'd pop it again. And a lot of those strikes that we got doing that were pretty violent. I mean, they bit it real good. Now, a lot of the other bites, when we're just dragging the jig real slow, you'll swear it's a bluegill. I mean, they'll bite it, they'll peck, 2 or 3 times. You'll swing and miss, and if you'll drop your rod down, it seems like some of them fish will hit it 2 or 3 times before they get a hold of it. And whenever they finally do get a hold of it, they'll have the whole jig down in their mouth where you can't even see the head. So, don't just think that some of them, what you think of short fish or little bites, like I say, it'll feel just like a bluegill. Just be patient, maybe pop the jig, let it go back down, and they'll usually stay with it till they get a hold of it. Now today I was up in the Campbell Point area, Campbell Point and Shell Knob, and we could not get that bite going in that 15 to 20 foot range. So, we did a lot of different things. We could catch a few, I'm still catching drop shot fish, some out off some of these long flat points around some of these deep docks. But most of the fish that I'm catching on the drop shot, they'll be anywhere from 22 to 35 feet deep. It's just, I can't hardly get any size to them. I mean, they're 12, 13, maybe 14-inch Kentuckys. There's a lot of them around the docks and around the bridge piers. So if you're struggling to catch fish, go out around some of these deep docks that got 40, 50 foot of water, around some of the bridge piers like at Shell Knob, Kimberling City, or up there 86. and you can catch some of them drop shot fish. The only problem is just no size. And like I was saying, what had been working for me down at Kimberly and at the dam didn't work today up in that other Shell Knob area of the lake. And as the day went on, I found, we finally started catching some Kentuckys kind of on the same points, but they were really out there deep. It seemed like you'd get out there about 35, 38 foot, right where them points rolled off. There might be some timber on some of them. A lot of them had bigger rock, but I was really surprised at how deep that bite was compared to the, bite I had been getting down at Kimberling. But the Kimberling area and dam, like I said earlier, most of those fish were smallmouth, and they're just now moving up in that 18 to 20 foot. And the Kentuckys, I couldn't get the smallies to bite today. By backing way out, we were able to start catching keeper Kentuckys, and some of them were as deep as 42 foot. So if you can't get bit in that, if you can't catch the smallmouth in that 15, 20 foot range, try just backing way out. A lot of these fish I'm not even seeing on the electronics. They're sucked down to the bottom pretty tight. And as far as a shallow bite, there still is a topwater bite. It actually seems to be a little bit better once the sun gets up. And what you want to do is kind of try to key on the banks that got shade on them. And a lot of times the boat's only setting in 8 to 10 foot of water. And I'm catching them on a pawpaw and a czar spook. But I got to cover a lot of water to get those bites. And the only thing that I can find that seems to be a key is the real little bait fish. And we have caught a couple on a spinnerbait as well. But it seems like if that real little bait fish is in the pockets that you're fishing, there's a good chance you'll get a bite. If you go into a pocket or fish a point that has absolutely none of that bait, seems like I cannot get a topwater bite. I don't think them bass are feeding on them real little shad. I think the bluegill are feeding on them and the bass are feeding on the bluegill. Like today was overcast all day. There was fish surfacing kind of all over the lake. Some of them might be in 80 to 100 foot of water. Seemed like there was always 2 or 3 casts away from where we were setting. And we had a hard time trying to catch them. The fish weren't really keying on anything other than the shad out in the middle of the lake. You'd go out there, you wouldn't be able to see them on your electronics, and they were gone. But like I was saying earlier, the shallow topwater bite for me has been better when the sun is up. You want to fish the banks that got a little bit of shade, around the willows and around some of that buckbrush. And most of those fish have been the largemouth. So if things cool down, the smallmouth bite should get stronger, and hopefully some of these largemouths start moving up a little bit. Until next week, good luck, good fishing.